It's Monday night. I'm sorry I'm recording a little bit later today, but the Timberwolves had a big game against, not a big game, but they had a game against the Brooklyn Nets, and the KU basketball team was playing at the same time as well. So it's really hard to, I had a lot of stuff that I was doing, and I was like, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to spend time doing that, and then I'm going to come back to it later. So that's what we're doing here today. But let's run through today the results from the weekend, kind of talk about it, break it down a little bit. And Monday Night Football is still ongoing right now, as you can see. So we'll be kind of following that throughout the night as well. I know that they're in the red zone. I had the game on, but it's not letting me watch it as a screen record, which is fine. We'll follow that. It's still early. Dallas can come back. I would like that. I want to see it get competitive, but we'll watch that. We'll stay updated on that throughout the night. But that's besides the point, because we're here to recap what's already happened. What happened this Sunday. So first, let's jump over to our top point scorers of the week. We've got Brock Bowers, who is back off of injury in a big game, overtime game, which I thought was going to end in a tie, but thank goodness it did not, because that would have been no fun. Went for 12 receptions, 127 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Once again, proving that he's the player to own in this Las Vegas offense. And just look at this. Yeah, he had some slow games near the end, but I think just Geno is settling in, and it was still, first couple weeks in Las Vegas, and I think he's really understanding now how sensational Brock Bowers really is. And yeah, he took full advantage of him this week. Trade deadline's approaching. We do not know if Jakobi Meyers is going to be a Las Vegas Raider after the deadline. I'm thinking there's a pretty good chance he's not going to be a Raider. Considering their record, they should most likely be selling at this point. Yeah, they're 2-6. Jakobi Meyers doesn't want to be there. He's openly said that. He's openly requested trade. The Raiders just haven't yet. I think that if they continue to lose, I mean, look at the division they're playing in too. Like, I don't think there's a reason for them to hold on to him, is what I should say. I think that he is going to be gone sooner rather than later. So really, it's just a matter of time for them to move on from Jakobi Meyers and continue to play through Brock Bowers, because that's what works. I mean, they did that this week, and they had a close game. Let's just pull up. I just wanted to see the stats from that game. I know that Genty played well as well. But, yeah, Trevor Lawrence was not great once again, not throwing touchdowns, which is just weird. But they did play through Travis Etienne, who played a great game, and Tootin, who looked really good as well, both averaging over 3 yards per carry. Parker Washington was the man this week. And BTJ continues to struggle in this offense. No Travis Hunter this week. Now let's jump over to the Raiders. This is the one I'm really interested in. 40 pass attempts for Geno Smith. 74% completion. 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Pretty good. 13 attempts for Genty. Averaging over 3 yards per carry. That's what we love to see. No touchdowns rushing, but he did have 1 receiving, and he contributed pretty well on the receiving game. So yeah, here's our guy, Jakobi Meyers. 4 receptions, 23 yards on 6 targets. So I think he's pretty clearly the most talented wide receiver there. And they got Tyler Lockett back in. He was released and he signed with the Raiders and wanted to be back with Pete Carroll. So I think that if they were to get rid of Jakobi Meyers, they could play with Tucker, Bowers, Genty, and then even get Michael Mayer involved a little bit more, rely on Lockett. So that's what I think they're going to target receiver in the next draft. It's pretty clear to see that that's a glaring need outside of Bowers, because he's like a receiver on his own. I don't even know if we can call him a tight end. So Bowers tore it up. Drake London, coming off an injury too, was a tough start. Look at these guys. 3 touchdowns for both of them. 9 targets for Drake London. And I don't think a single one of his touchdowns were like outside of like 10 yards. Yeah, his what was his long reception? I think it was like, it couldn't have been more than 20 yards. But I swear every touchdown, Because I had Red Zone on and I was watching the Vikings game, and every time I was looking over, it was like, oh, Drake London caught another high point red zone touchdown, which is what they should use him for. That's what he's so good at. Let's see. I just want to, 1 yard touchdown. Boom. And then we got another one. Let's see. Is this it? Yep, 2 yard touchdown. Nice. And then the last touchdown. Let's see. Yep, 8 yards. So 1 yard touchdown, 2 yard touchdown, 8 yard touchdown. That's exactly what Drake London should be used for. And Pitts, for that matter, too. They could be using Kyle Pitts for that. But they don't. And yeah, so great game from those two. And then we saw that shootout between Chicago and Cincinnati. And the only reason Cincinnati lost that game is because their defense is just so terrible. Like, Flacco is looking good. 470 yards passing, 31 for 47, 2 interceptions, but 4 touchdowns and 470 yards. Like, you got to be kidding me. 30 fantasy points. And Caleb Williams, on the other hand, played pretty good as well. Had a receiving touchdown. That was pretty funny. Actually, had 2 receptions, believe it or not. Did a little bit in the run game. No interceptions, which is pretty good for Caleb. Pretty good to see that out of him. 3 passing touchdowns. McCaffrey balled out as well against the Giants in a game that I thought was a lot closer than it should have been. Even though you don't have Brock Purdy, come on, you're the 49ers with Robert Saleh as your D coordinator. You can do a little bit better than that. T. Higgins was the guy for Flacco. And Loveland had a great game for Chicago. So we're seeing a little bit of movement for him. We're going to check the rankings here real quick. Let's see. It's probably a bit too early. Well, let's see if there's any movement with our guy, Colston Loveland. Putting the rookie rankings here. Looks like, it's too early to tell. So that's going to be something that we check on later in the week. But yeah, great game from Loveland. And he showed that he can do it. He showed that he can do it as a receiver. So 6 for 118 and 2 scores. Just a great game. Rico Dowdle continues to be one of those big surprises of the year. After a down week last week, came back out, was the bell cow that we saw in weeks 5, 6, and 7. 25 carries, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns on 5 yards per carry. Like, that's what I think is the really important thing. Look at that yards per carry. He's efficient when he's getting the ball. And I want to see Hubbard. I want to see what Hubbard did this week. Hubbard was all the rage last year. He was like the breakout guy last year. And this is what he's done so far this season. Had a good start to the year. Touchdown reliant. A little bit of usage in the passing game, which really boosts. But we see here 14 carries, 12 carries. And he's under 3 yards per carry in both those games. Didn't get as much touches this week. Something to definitely monitor. But I mean, when Rico Dowdle is playing the way that he's playing, you can't not put the ball in his hands. And I mean, he helped will that team to a win over a good Green Bay Packers team. So things are really shaking up in the NFC North. Incredible game from Sam Darnold too. He completed like 20 straight passes or something. Played a dang near perfect first half. Had four passing touchdowns in the first half. Kind of took the foot off the gas later there in the game. And of course with Jaden Daniels going down with injury, just sucks to see. Sucks to see a guy coming back off injury get hurt again. So he didn't need to do too much. When you play that well in the first half, you don't need to do too much. But his guy, Jackson Smith-Njigba, balled out too. Just getting the ball. Torrey Horton, who had 2 touchdowns, I believe. 4 for 48 and 2. Just a great game. Pop Douglas went out there, 401. And then here's the guy we got to talk about, J.J. McCarthy. My guy, J.J. McCarthy, against the Lions. And that defense is no joke. Aiden Hutchinson was there all day long. He played a great game. And you know who else looked really well, surprisingly? That would be Aaron Jones. Not sure entirely what he finished with, but he was very efficient when he was carrying the ball. Let's see, he's got to be up here, right? Yeah, right here. 11 points and, no scores. Went 9 rushes for 78 yards. And, what happened? I think I lost my screen. Okay, we're back. Oh, that was scary. I don't like losing my monitor like that. He went 9 rushes for 78 yards, 2 receptions for 20 yards. Efficient game on the ground. Like, just efficient. That's what you want from your running backs. You want them to be able to produce without relying on a touchdown. Guy that I said you must start this week, Travion Henderson, went out there, got 14 carries for 55 yards. Not elite production. Of course, we'd love to see more from that. 3.9 yards per carry. And he's kind of been hovering right around that number with the exception of week 8. But also he was used in the receiving game, which is one big upside to him. And yeah, hasn't scored a touchdown since week 4. And I think if he can put up games like this, he can be fantasy relevant, but we don't want him to be a touchdown dependent guy like Josh Jacobs was for so long, I feel like. And might even still be. You could make the argument that he still is. I wouldn't say that, but I mean, when he is scoring pretty much a touchdown a game, you take away these touchdowns, and some of those games don't look too good. Specifically, I'm looking at you and you two, and even these ones. But that was like the Josh Jacobs experience last year at the start of the season in Green Bay, and then he really picked it up and started hammering it into the end zone. So Kenneth Walker is one guy that we need to have a discussion about. Is he going to be overtaken? I don't even know. We got to find out the snap counts. We got to find out what the snap counts were in week 9 we can't fully see this, but it's looking like we can kind of see here. It's looking like we're seeing a higher snap rate for Zach Charbonnet, which is interesting because if I'm correct, if my memory is serving me correctly, I believe this is a contract year for Kenneth Walker, or maybe it is for Charbonnet. I don't know. For one of them, I know that's for sure. So let's see what Pro Football Reference has here. Yeah, it's Charbonnet's right at 45, Walker's right at 44. But here's where things get interesting. They're really not using him too much as a receiver. I mean, a little bit, but it's not what you'd like to see out of a guy like that who has the potential to be a great receiving back. Then Charbonnet, on the other hand, is getting like pretty much dang near similar usage out of the backfield while being a pretty good rusher too, and he's got that touchdown upside. And I like Walker. I think he's a great back, but it's just kind of what you see with running backs that get drafted in the NFL, and it is what it is. And Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, one of the better running back combos in the NFL, but definitely something to keep an eye on is that situation there. And I also, Bashal Tootin, I talked about him earlier, loved what I saw out of him this week. Non-guy played great too with Swift being out. Yeah, 6.8 yards per carry on 26 attempts, 176 yards. He put up those numbers with no touchdowns. 22 fantasy points with no touchdowns. I thought I'm a Vikings fan, right? The Bears could have taken like Judkins or no, I don't think they would have been able to reach Judkins and Henderson, but they could have taken Caleb Johnson, and thank goodness they didn't. But I think next year is going to be the year that they go running back, because Swift obviously is not the best option. But yeah, the Minnesota receivers like Jefferson, Hawkinson, all those guys, Addison, even Naylor got a little bit of action. Expect for them to see a healthy bump now that we're watching J.J. McCarthy play. Gadsden, once again, puts out a good week. McBride is, of course, still playing currently. It's 24-10. So looks like the Cowboys only got a field goal out of that drive. 4 minutes left in the third. He had a touchdown earlier. Yeah, 3 receptions, and he's got that score. Gadsden is contributing again. Both these guys I was encouraged with out of Seattle, Barner and Arroyo this week. But here's what I wanted to talk about, jumping off of the Trey McBride discussion, and that's Marvin Harrison Jr. So, of course, the game isn't over, like I just said, but he's got 7 receptions for 96 yards and a score. And let's take a look at this. or well, we don't have to, we'll get here soon, but who's playing quarterback right now is Jacoby Brissett. And I seriously think that Kyler Murray is the issue. Like, and Kyler Murray might get his coaches fired if they keep rolling with him. I'm not sure what his contract situation is like. We're going to have to look that up very shortly, but just not a great passer. And he does not find Marvin Harrison Jr. like he should. That's for sure. So I want to look at Kyler Murray's contract. Yeah. Signed in July 2022, 5 years, 230 with $160 million guaranteed. AAV 46. So that's not terrible. But when you're watching like how Jacoby Brissett is playing, it's like, oh my goodness, how can we be doing this to ourselves? From like from a Cardinals fan standpoint, yeah. Just efficient, clean passing that we've seen from Brissett so far. And yeah, like it looks like they're throwing the ball a lot. Completion percentage could be higher, but it's paying dividends to his receivers, that's for sure. And like Marvin Harrison is so good. And that's why I thought this article that I read earlier was really fascinating. And there's a quote that I wanted to reference here. And now part of it, he says, our situations are different. The era of football is different, of course. And for Marvin Harrison Sr., you have to consider, yes, he played with one of the top 5 greatest quarterbacks of all time. But here's the quote that I really wanted to focus on. What I do know, here's Marvin Harrison. What I do know is you can put Marvin Harrison Sr. in my prime in Arizona right now, and guess what happened? He says, the Pro Football Hall of Fame Canton, they're going to be sending me a prepaid envelope saying, can you send that jacket back? So I'm not speaking for anybody, I'm speaking for me. So he's saying, if he were in the situation that his son is currently in, they'd be like, hey, we've seen enough. Send that gold jacket back. You're no longer a member of the Hall of Fame. So that's all it says. I think this was a really good article because it really kind of shows how Harrison's how he's an individual. He's not a replica of his father. He's more reserved. He's not as outspoken about how he should be getting more touches or more opportunities and things. But he's working about it. He's working on it. He's going to get there, I think is what it's sounding like. But I think this was just a really interesting read. So if you're a football fan, definitely read this. But like I said, Marvin Harrison Jr. is saying, if I were playing in Arizona right now, I would not be able to produce at a level that I could produce at. So that's what he's saying. And I think that's something that's definitely interesting. And we'll see. We'll see if Marvin Harrison Jr. Looks to get more opportunities because, I mean, he's having a great night tonight. And, of course, coming into the NFL, like, he was one of the most hyped up receiver prospects in years, going to the number 4 pick. Like, he was on level with Jamar Chase, one of the most pro-ready guys that we've ever seen. So that's, I mean, it looks like he's having a great game now. I'm not sure when Kyler Murray will be back, but Marvin Harrison's fun. Like, and he's a great wide receiver, and this is easily one of the most talented guys to come out of Ohio State. And they keep putting out great receivers. Like, you're seeing it with Smith and Jigba and Olave, who's had a great year, and Egbuka, of course. So I think that things are going to turn around for Marvin Harrison Jr. But it all depends on the play of the quarterback and the play calling and the scheme. And I think, like, Arizona's not stupid. They want him to have the ball. So it just comes down to, is the quarterback going to get it to him? And right now, me personally, I'm more confident with Jacoby Brissett than Kyler Murray. As crazy as it sounds, but it's just a better passer. So that's where that's sitting for me. Yeah, it was a really fun week. You love to see like these weeks where everybody's putting up big numbers, and it's also more fun when you own these two guys right here like I did. So yeah, it was a good time. Nothing else is really coming to mind as of this moment. But yeah. Oh yeah, Cam Little made that 68-yard field goal. That was awesome. Yeah, Jaden Daniels might be estimated return 12-14-2025. So That's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt the receivers in Washington, of course. Look for a continued workload for Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. This is who we want to see. But yeah, that's about all I got. We'll be back tomorrow with some more analysis, some more discussion, and taking a look more maybe at the Cardinals situation. We'll see. So